Hello, I'm Geraint Hardy and welcome to the Healthy Work in Wales podcast brought to you by Public Health Wales. Over the series, we'll be chatting to experts about a range of workplace health issues, empowering employers with the knowledge and support they need to help keep the Welsh workforce healthy and in work. In this episode, we're talking about COVID-19 and the mental well-being of employees. Protecting our present and future mental health has never been more important. COVID-19 has impacted on all parts of everyday life and has changed the way we live, work and socialise. For many, these exceptional times have been unsettling and stressful. They definitely tested our ability to cope or adapt. Knowing where to seek information and helpful guidance or support can help maintain positive mental health and get some help when it's needed. I'm joined today by Gareth Siggy, Enterprise Support Officer for RCS Wales, who's going to chat to us about how to support mental well-being in the workplace. First of all, Gareth, thanks for joining us, and I hope you're well and feeling safe today.
Hi, and thank you for having me on this podcast. Really looking forward to being part of it.
So let's get straight into it if we can. Lots to talk about. What have been the impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic on people's mental well-being?
So protecting our mental health has never been more important. COVID-19 has impacted on all aspects of everyday life and has changed the way we live, work, and connect with others. For many of us, these exceptional times have been extremely challenging, increasing stress and anxiety and testing our abilities to cope or adapt. For many, returning to the workplace may bring a sense of relief and a welcome change of scenery. In contrast, though, for some, this change to their routines, roles, environment, and in some cases, employment situation can feel overwhelming and uncertain. The focus on supporting employee mental health remains critical for a number of key reasons. First of all, the continued uncertainty about the virus, along with regular changes to restrictions, can heighten feelings of stress or anxiety. Many working parents do not have full access to childcare services or their homeschooling and face uncertainty about ongoing and future school closures. The long-term nature of home working means many have continued being isolated from colleagues. Social routines, connections, and activities have all changed. Roles may have changed, and many may struggle with a sense of loss about their working identity, purpose, and a sense of value. Work-life balance and blurred boundaries between work and home may become more problematic as home working continues. Finally, fears around job security are likely to be prevalent, especially for those in sectors most impacted financially by the pandemic. Knowing how to identify when you or an employee's mental health is at risk and being able to take actions early can help avoid things becoming or feeling worse. Knowing where to seek help is also important. The Healthy Working Wales website provides links to a number of organisations and services that can provide information and support.
And with all of that in mind, because a lot was said just straight away there, Gareth, how do we best support employees who have suffered from stress or anxiety as a result of the pandemic or from just working from home?
The risks to people's health from this pandemic are psychological as well as physical. Many people will have experienced a challenging time during lockdown, and some will have experienced anxiety due to a range of different factors and individual circumstances. Mental health fluctuates, so there needs to be an ongoing conversation about well-being as part of every manager's employee one-to-one. Individuals with a pre-existing mental health condition, such as anxiety or depression, should have been offered support, adjustments, and regular engagement to help them stay well through the pandemic. Many others may have experienced or developed new mental health conditions due to lockdown or for other reasons. Signs and symptoms of poor mental health are not always visible, and individuals can find them hard to talk about or even accept they are happening. For employers, it can be even harder to identify if somebody is struggling or to put support in place if somebody is working from home. Therefore, support should be offered as a preventative and easily accessible approach offered to all employees. For example, through access to an employee assistance program or signposting to local support services. Developing a culture within the workplace that makes people feel safe, comfortable, and confident to talk about their mental health is the best way of supporting employees through the challenges of this pandemic and through the transition back to a physical workspace. Establishing and maintaining strong, trust-based relationships between managers and teams will help enable employees to raise concerns and ask for support. Empathetic management is required to support employee concerns and provide or signpost individuals to appropriate support. Managers also need to be open to the discussions around adjustments to roles, resources, or working arrangements to support those employees back into the workplace. Graduated or phased returns may be beneficial in helping employees transition back into their role. Consideration of promoting supportive roles within the organisation, such as wellbeing champions or change champions, can establish pathways for employees to access support through their peers. Sometimes individuals may not always want to talk about mental health concerns with their direct line manager. Therefore, offering alternative routeways to support can be an important factor in providing workplace wellbeing support to employees. It is important that we don't forget management and supervisory staff as well. Managers can also experience stress, anxiety, and vulnerabilities, especially if they're putting in place increased support for their teams. It is important that employers provide support, training, and guidance to managers to address their own well-being concerns, whilst they are supporting others to maintain theirs.
And Gareth, death sadly has been a factor in COVID-19. How can employers support employees who have experienced loss and bereavement during this period?
Employers can play a huge role in helping employees to live with bereavement just by acknowledging it. It is important to reach out to people who are bereaved, to listen to them and find ways to support them individually. Some people may not be forthcoming in terms of talking immediately about the bereavement, but most will be receptive of open offers of support, even if they don't feel ready to respond at this point. Everybody responds to grief in a way that is unique to them. And it can be influenced by many internal and external factors, such as previous experience, religion, beliefs, personalities, and the relationship that they held with the deceased and the nature of that death. There are a lot of models of grief with people experiencing a wide range of emotions, such as denial, anger, guilt, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. But everybody's experience of grief is individual. Additional factors during this pandemic may also have complicated these experiences and emotions. Perhaps somebody has been unable to say goodbye or spend time with friends or relatives, or they feel that the death was preventable and outside the natural order of things. People may also experience delayed grieving, with being unable to attend funerals or time with the deceased before their death. Grief can also heighten pre-existing mental health conditions and can lead to prolonged grief disorders, self-injury behaviour, or thoughts or actions of suicide. So support for employees with pre-existing mental health conditions is an important consideration for helping them through bereavement and grief. People often grieve at stages throughout their life as new events make them understand the deceased in a new way. They may also act as a trigger, causing a fluctuation in their mental health. This could include birthdays, Mother or Father's Day, weddings. They could all be challenging occasions for somebody. If the death has been related to the pandemic, then workplace triggers may also be prevalent, such as posters, information discussing the pandemic, All of these factors could be reminders of the bereaved. Employers can take actions to support employees, including offering condolences and reassuring the employee that supporting them through this is their priority. Identifying the best way to keep in touch, such as email or phone. We all have different preferences, so try and make it person-centered. Identify if they want colleagues to be aware and how much should be shared with them about the bereavement. When appropriate and if required, make them aware of leave policies that may support time off for a bereavement. Display empathetic and compassionate leadership by role modeling that it is normal to be available to have conversations about death and bereavement. Implementing wellbeing champions as a resource in your workplace and providing them with training and awareness to understand and to respond to grief and bereavement. Champions can also be a resource for setting up support networks such as signposting, grief cafes, or virtual networks to help bereaved people. Make information easily accessible about those internal and external support mechanisms. Ensure these are applicable for the employee's circumstance and take into consideration the nature of the death, relationships with the bereaved, and also religion and cultural sensitivities. Bereavement related to COVID-19 may instill fear around an individual's own mortality. Returning to the workplace may create fears for their own safety and that of their family of contracting the virus. Managers should seek to respond in a supportive manner, try and understand their concerns and implement appropriate adjustments. Consider additional adjustments, so support that will enable the bereaved employee to perform their role. This could be extended deadlines or adjustments to workloads. It could also be leave if they have a new carer role or responsibilities following the bereavement. Wellbeing champions or employers can signpost to support agencies in the community, such as Cruise, which is a national bereavement charity that provides support and advice and information to children, young people, and adults. There is also Sudden, who are a charity providing help for suddenly bereaved people. This could be due to COVID-19 or any other illness or sudden event or suicide. They provide free support in the first 10 weeks of a bereavement.
Yeah, great stuff there, Gareth, and lots of information for us all to take in. But by now, I suppose lots of us are well versed in Zoom and working from home. But how can employers support their workforce to look after their mental well-being when working remotely? Because lots of us are doing it and will be for a period.
A significant proportion of the workforce have now been working from home for a long period of time, many of them really successfully. For many, however, there may be ongoing challenges and stresses, such as juggling work, caring, and homeschooling responsibilities. They might be feeling isolated and missing social contacts. Employers should consider their support for employees that live alone, rurally, have caring responsibilities, and also factors like pre-existing health conditions and those from BAME groups. They could be more at risk of contracting the virus, and long periods of home working also may increase the risk of isolation, deterioration in physical and mental well-being. Employers could consider implementing some of the following strategies to support staff working remotely. These could include offering coaching, mentoring, and awareness training about developing a good work-life balance. Keeping employees connected with each other, so promoting online communities, virtual meetups, quizzes, team building activities. These all help keep social connections from a distance. We should encourage employees to create effective boundaries between work and home. They should take breaks, use leave, maintain routines such as start and finish times or when they have their lunch breaks. It's also a key part to consider using home time checklists to encourage employees to reflect on their day, check in with a colleague, and consider their own well-being before they finish work for the end of the day. Adjust expectations as to what is achievable delivering a role from home. Consider the additional distractions, change in resources, and the impact of the pandemic on your own organisation's target market. Ensure managers are trained to look for signs of poor mental and physical health and well-being. They are not as identifiable when working from home, so this can be more challenging. Employers can also provide a sounding board for employee well-being. They could provide a survey, seek feedback, provide an open forum for sharing concerns, or identify possible solutions or support available. Develop wellbeing champions roles as a resource to support employees, promote good well-being, and actively engage with teams. Consider training some employees with mental health first aid that could be provided remotely to support colleagues and encourage openness to discuss mental health concerns. Consider developing a time to change plan that explores steps an organisation can make to support mental health at work and reduce stigma.
Yeah, there's no doubt, is there, Gareth, that we've all shown strength of character in this period. But let's think about employers. How can employers build resilience within their workplace then? How can they kind of push the boundaries and improve that?
Employers can implement some simple, inexpensive approaches to support employee mental health and well-being and build resilience at work. These all help to improve morale and motivation, improve retention, reduce absence, and reduce presenteeism. They also help to increase productivity, efficiency, and performance. And in the longer term can increase profit margins and reduce business costs. They can also enhance the organisation's reputation and brand whilst demonstrating a clear duty of care as an employer. To build resilience and become a well workplace, organisations need to create a culture of support where employees feel their voice is heard and their ideas considered. They feel valued and their role has meaning and purpose, and they can identify with playing a key part in the organisation's direction of travel. Employers should look to destigmatise mental health in the workplace. If employees feel supported to talk about mental health and disclose concerns at an earlier stage, without the fear of stigma, then they are more likely to access help at an earlier point. Actively encourage a good work-life balance. Develop person-centered communication and support flexible working practices. And maintain those peer relationships and social connections within your workplace. Regular, consistent, formal supervision is integral for building trust and opening up opportunities for employees to voice their concerns. But don't wait for somebody to come forward. Make wellbeing questions part of your supervision. Check in with employees with more informal supervision in between. And if actions have been developed, then ensure managers follow these through and that the support is put in place and provided. Improve the physical and virtual environment of your workplace. Publicise the available support pathways such as employee assistance programs, occupational health services, but also implement wellbeing champions, mental health first aiders. Make your organisation aware of local community support that's available to tackle the causes of poor mental well-being. RCS delivers a range of fully funded services to help individuals and businesses improve health and well-being at work. This includes support and therapies for employed and self-employed people, and training and tools alongside resources to help SME businesses look after the health and well-being of their workforce. And more information about RCS is available at rcs-wales.co.uk or emailing hello@rcs-wales.co.uk. You can also call on 01745 336 442. Employee support and therapies are available across Anglesey, Gwynedd, Conway, Denbighshire, and the business support is available in Anglesey, Gwynedd, Conway, Denbighshire, Ceredigion, Carmarthenshire and Pembrokeshire. Working people from across Wales and from any size of organisation can access up to 9 months of free wellbeing support through the Able Futures programme or through the Remploy's Access to Work mental health support service. This includes support for mental health in the workplace. You can also visit Mind Cymru, who have produced a guide to creating a mentally healthy workplace.
Gareth, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really informative, and thanks for sharing your thoughts and advice with us.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here today.
I'm sure we've only touched the surface of this topic, so employers and employees seeking more advice and guidance should visit the Healthy Work in Wales website, where there's a variety of support services and best practice guidance. That's it for this episode of Healthy Work in Wales podcast. If you've enjoyed the episode, feel free to share it with fellow employers or write us a review on your podcast app, which will help people find it more easily. I'm Geraint Hardy, and this is the Healthy Work in Wales podcast for Public Health Wales. Thanks for listening.